Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider, another story. Today we have a lovely lady, and she has been explaining she loves clothes. Even though she does music videos and all of this, she says clothes is not fashion. So she was explaining that to me, and I felt that that is something the audience should understand as well. But without further ado, nice to have you here, Izzy. Thank you. Okay, you may have to speak a bit loud. So Izzy, first of all, what's your job title?
I am a stylist.
A stylist, okay.
Yes.
So that's for clothes?
Yes, a fashion stylist.
A fashion stylist, okay. So before we get into it, tell us, what kind of person were you when you were in school?
When I was in school, I was a little bit naughty, but I think, I don't know, yeah, I was quite well-rounded, I think. I wasn't too bright, but very into art and music and all that kind of thing, and I think a lot of that shaped where I am now, I suppose.
Were you an introvert, extrovert?
I think I'm an introvert, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. You said you was a bit naughty.
A little bit.
What was that? Did you ever get suspended?
We used to get told off for our uniform and things like that. Oh. Me and my friends.
What did you do with your uniform?
We used to wear the wrong shoes, the wrong skirt, okay. Lots of different things that you weren't allowed to wear, that kind of thing.
Okay. Oh, so you had school uniform?
Yeah.
I never had school.
Oh, really?
When I was in school. Okay. So when did you realise that you wanted to work in fashion?
From a young age. I started sewing when I was about 6 years old.
Oh, is it? Who taught you to sew?
My mum taught me to sew. She is a fabulous seamstress and pattern cutter. And
so it runs in the family?
Yeah, and my grandma and her grandma and it's very much in my family. So I've always had a love for working with fabric and clothes and that kind of thing. And then when I was about 16 years old, one of my brother's friends started her own magazine, and I started working for her, and through that I just sort of progressed. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. What was the first item you made?
The first item I haven't. Oh, that's really hard. Probably a bag, I think.
A bag?
Yeah, I like making
canvas.
Like a canvas tote bag, I think.
Okay.
Probably.
What was your inspiration?
I'm not sure. I think it was probably a school project or something that we had to do.
Okay, you sound like you're a South London girl.
Yes.
Okay. Someone's explaining to me that they've come from North London. They can tell the difference now.
Difference in the accent,
yeah,
really?
To South London, yeah.
That's interesting.
Distinctive.
Yeah, a distinctive sort of sound, isn't it? Yeah.
I didn't really realise, but now I'm starting to pay.
Starting to notice it more.
Yeah, notice things.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay. What route of education did you choose?
What route of education did I choose? I went to a state school, and then I went to just a normal community college, and then through that I went to university.
What did you study? What we're getting at here is what you studied, so anybody who wants to follow you in your footsteps can understand the route to take.
So I did art up until I was at college, and then I did graphic design after that at university.
How many GCSEs did you get? Seeing above?
The standard 5 or 8 or so, I can't remember. I think it's 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't, your A-star student at all.
Okay. 5 is good. I got 1 and I cheated.
What was the one?
B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
I can copy Claire's work. The teacher gave it to me. Simon, I know you're going to copy it. Don't copy it word for word though. And I didn't understand.
You copied it word for word. Of course.
Gave me a B.
Amazing.
Yeah. I suppose it's what happens with a teacher. I had to get some kind of grade.
Yeah, no.
But what? So you went on to college.
Yeah.
And you did art.
Yes, did a lot of art.
What was the name of the course? Was it just art?
I did art and design. It was a BTEC, so you do that instead of doing A levels, and that's usually for people who want to do more creative stuff or find it easier working in a more creative environment than like your typical like lesson sort of based thing.
Yeah, I understand.
And there were no exams, and at that time I was very happy with that, so I was like, I'm going to do that instead.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How did you find uni, and did it set you up for the industry you're in now?
Well, interestingly, I am someone who found that university had no impact on my career at all, mainly because I did a different field, so it kind of took me off slightly, but I met good friends and things like that. But if you're unsure, if anyone's unsure of going to university, like, have a think about it, don't rush into it. It's not for everyone, and it's a lot of money to be spent on something if you're not 100% sure about it. That's what I would say.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Did you do any work experience prior to
Yeah,
when you were studying uni?
While I was studying, I interned a lot for magazines, which is basically means that you do a lot of work for no money.
But it gets you in the door.
It does get you in the door, yes.
You get your notice.
Exactly. And that's a really good way of making contacts for the future.
Name drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Who did you work for?
I worked for ID magazine, Dazed and Confused, The Face, lots of different sort of modern London-based magazines.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So what that means is really for any of the listeners that if you're coming up and you're a student, that those magazines take on interns and work experience. What was the length of time that you worked?
I worked for them. I think they were sort of about 2 weeks here and there. That's the sort of standard one, I think. Some of them are like 6 months, but obviously to work for 6 months without any money is just completely unfeasible.
You've got to have a comfortable home life.
Exactly, yeah. Well, luckily I had a student loan at the time, so I was quite happy to, go back and forth between doing that because I had this loan, which kind of like helps me to do it. But definitely, it's hard for kids who don't have that kind of that cushion to be like, oh, I can go and do that because my parents are going to pay for me to do that. Or
the problem is when you give kids money that they don't really understand the concept.
Yeah.
They understand that they can get things, but they don't understand how to manage it.
No, precisely. And I think that's going back to when I chose to do my university course. I never considered the debt because I was like, when I was so young, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. But now I'm like, oh, that is something you have to pay back, and that's
you shouldn't have to pay it.
No, not at all.
It's the foul government.
It is the foul government.
We won't get into the politics.
We won't, not yet anyway.
Well, not right now, maybe later. What have you learned since you've been in the industry that you wish you knew when you had started?
I wish I knew when I started. I think in any creative industry, it's really good to push yourself more and try to be like self-employed and your own business essentially, because like I was saying about working for free, like that's a very common thing in that industry where lots of people will ask you to do a lot of favors, but I think the best thing you can do is actually to be like, how can I be the top person? How can I be the person who's employing the interns instead, sort of thing, and work out how you can make, I don't know, maximise how much money you can make personally instead.
Okay, that's good.
That's quite specific for if you're in my field, but...
No, that's good. That's good stuff to know.
Yeah.
What kind of personality would you say you need to have to do your role?
I think you have to be quite strong. And you've got to be good at making decisions quite fast. Lots of things change day to day. So it's good to be able to like think on your feet a bit. And also just like having faith in your creativity and being like, this is my vision and this is how I want it to be. I think that's a really good skill to have, because otherwise I guess like maybe your idea might not come out as how you'd hoped, or someone else might influence what you were trying to create. So it's good to be like, confident in your own work.
Yeah, I understand. That's good. That's good. Do you have a social media site or something where people can find you, where you put some of your designs?
Yeah, I have an Instagram account, but I have to say I don't actually really use it.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah,
just saying, if somebody is looking for someone of your skills, now would be the time to.
It would.
Well, how about you can try it out there and then you can update it when you get home.
Exactly. So, what you want me to tell them? So it's at Issy, ISSY, Martin, and then an underscore at the end.
Okay. So, and the Martin is MARTIN.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So you'll go home and you'll embellish that with all your latest designs.
Yes, exactly.
So you said you do music videos and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
You mentioned some music videos you do. Do you want to name them?
Lots of things we've worked on. I work quite closely with this band called London Grammar, who are a sort of a big pop band, and we make quite a lot of videos for them. And so they're about to go on tour, and we're going to do like their whole tour for them as well.
When you're doing their clothes, their style, their fashion, do you decide what their look should be, or do they say what their look is?
It kind of depends. If it's for an artist, or like a band or a musician or someone like that, generally they have an image which they are trying to get out into the world anyway. So, and that would be decided with a record label and things like that usually. But then otherwise, some people, they don't mind, and they kind of want you to come up with the idea and see what your creative vision might be compared to what they would want.
Okay, that's good. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Ooh, that's a good one. Everything, really. Sometimes the most random things can give you the most inspiration.
Well, how about this? Where was your last bit of inspiration from?
So the short video that we're doing recently, it's set in sort of an old man's working club, and it's got a sort of very South London feel to it, I suppose. So I was just asking my dad, if I'm honest, about like different things that him and his friends would have worn when they were going there in like the 90s, and I think talking to people. How old is your dad? My dad is like 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. What did he used to do?
My dad has a really interesting life story actually. He well, it's not that interesting, but my dad's from Camberwell, and he was a shoe shine at Liverpool Street Station when he was like, young, like 16, 17, 18. And he used to shine this man's shoes every day, all the time. And this man suddenly turned around one day and was like, I need an apprentice at my place of work. And my dad was like, well, I need a job, I need to get out of here. So he took him on, and my dad ended up becoming a stockbroker.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, so he's a real like rags to riches kind of story. He's
from shoe shine boy to
stockbroker. Yeah.
Maybe I should be interviewing your dad.
For sure.
So how was the transition for him? Has your dad told you about the story?
Yeah, he tells me lots of stories.
What did he tell you to share some of the interest? First of all, where was he shining shoes? I'm gonna take my books in.
I don't think it exists anymore. I'm sure it was a thing of the past, but somewhere around Liverpool Street, I think, was the chosen spot. I don't know. He just said it was really stressful. I think that was his.
Really stressful.
Yeah, very stressful job. A lot of them got like reoccurring nightmares and like post-traumatic stress and
nightmares.
Yeah, because it's the environment.
Saying buy or sell. Buy, sell.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy to think, but I think being in that environment for like 15 hours a day kind of would get to people eventually, I suppose.
Okay, so he's retired now.
Yeah, well he does other stuff now, but he stopped that think just after I was probably born, maybe.
You wanted to, you're an only child?
No, I've got older siblings.
Okay, so when you were born, and you just said, I'm going to give this up.
Yeah, I think so.
Focus on my little baby girl. You're the first girl child.
I was the first girl child, yeah. And I'm the baby as well.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. What's the impact you want to have in the world?
Impact I want to have on the world?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard, very hard. I guess just bring like more happiness and just niceness to the world, I suppose. I always try and like, smile at people and say please and thank you and all that kind of thing. So
Okay.
I just like to make other people's day a bit better, that sort of thing.
What does the future hold for Izzy?
The future hold for me? Hopefully more film work, big films. Love to do more. I worked for Netflix for a short period of time, and that was amazing.
So you're dropping bombshells now. Just to come rounding up the episode. You work for Netflix. Okay, first of all, how did you get to Netflix? Find you? Did you find Netflix? What happened?
It was through a family friend who needed someone, and she knew that I worked in a similar field, and she said, could you come and step in for someone else who couldn't do it anymore? And yeah, I ended up doing that.
What did you do on the show?
We did the Eurovision Song Contest film.
Okay.
With Will Ferrell and Pierce Brosnan and a bunch of other randoms.
Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
What kind of person is he?
He is great. He was brilliant. Yeah, really, really nice guy. Really fun. Very wild. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I like him. I like his personality.
Yeah, he's exactly like that in person. So.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Papa don't cheat.
Yeah,
Papa don't play that.
He's full of life.
What about, you said Pierce?
Piers Morgan. Sorry, Pierce Brosnan as well.
Yeah, Brosnan. How was he?
He was okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah, but I'd like to end up doing more stuff like that. So, but it all got postponed because of COVID. So I had to think of a plan B while that was all going on.
Okay. Oh, so you started it?
Yeah, and then we went into lockdown, and then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least you made. Well, they're going to call you back.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Okay, that's good. And what was it like being on the set though? Was it a big, I'm not sure. Obviously, you can't compare it to Hollywood, and you've got another bombshell to drop on me.
Not quite, no. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really it's as you'd imagine. It is still quite Hollywood, even though when you do things like in the UK, it's very big cameras, lots of people walking around with walkie-talkies and.
Where was the set?
It was all over. It was filmed all over. They filmed a lot of it in Scotland because it was supposed to look like Iceland.
Okay.
And they've filmed some of it in Iceland, and then lots of it was filmed in the big studios in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Were you in hotels or?
Yeah, we stayed in hotels for some of it, but not the whole thing. Not the whole thing, yeah. Just on the days where we had to be far away and stuff, yeah.
You networked well, though.
Yeah, I met some really great people in there, yeah. Some really nice girls.
So you'll be back on there?
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, so I should take your email and number thing, so... not that I would want, I've probably got somebody who'd say, I wish I could. All right,
of course, yeah, it's all about networking, definitely.
Okay then, Izzy.
Definitely.
Remember, it was said here, 40 hours on the 22nd. Is it 22nd today?
It's the 23rd, I think.
How much I'm working, I'm behind. Yeah.
That's alright.
But okay then, Izzy. Well, thanks a lot. You've got any last bombshells you want to drop on me before we round up? I don't, sadly. If I have any more, I'll try and think of them and let you know. Okay then.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.